You want a cookie? Want some cookies? Yeah, he says, I'll take a cookie. He says, I want cookies. Huh. Go ahead, you can leave hay. That's a good boy. When you tell your horse, no, stop that, don't do that, or you push and pull on the horse, or you yank on the lead rope, what you're doing is you're responding to a negative that the horse has done with a negative of your own. You're not telling the horse what you want the horse to do. You're only telling them what you don't want them to do. And you're being reactive and not proactive. This technique doesn't have anything per se to do with John Lyons. It's not a technique that I've ever seen him do. But I want to mention him here because I don't particularly follow his training methods per se, but I really do like his overall philosophy and his way of thinking. And one of those is that you should be proactive and not reactive. I'm going to try and show you some different ways to be proactive rather than reactive. And the things that I'm going to show you today actually come from the dog training world. In the intro that you just watched, I did two of the more basic procedures. One was to redirect my horse back to doing something positive. In this case, it was redirecting him from being nosy around me to eating his hay. If you're consistent with that and you always do it every time the horse comes in around you, it'll learn over a very short period of time that doing that isn't getting him anything, and he'll just do the behavior that you've been redirecting him to do. Again, this is something that takes time. A lot of times people don't like to do these procedures because they don't want to put the time and effort into it. They'd rather just do the negative and correct the horse. But I really think that it's advantageous if you try to work on a more positive connection with your horse and try to eliminate the negatives. I would suggest that if you're not familiar with using this on several different horses, that you at least practice it in front of a mirror or a video camera somewhere where you can look and see what you look like when you're doing it. Quite often people that are new to training, that's a good boy. Quite often people that are new to training think they're projecting one thing, but they're projecting something else completely different to the horse. I can't possibly show you every example of every situation and how you would do each of those situations in a little YouTube video, but this next thing that I show you is also an example of redirecting behavior rather than yanking on the horse or pulling on them to keep their head still. In this clip I took from another video, I'm doing a massage technique with the horse that the horse is not familiar with, and I'm doing the technique faster than it should be done because I'm working on showing the horse where to put his head. When he brings his head up, I bring my hands forward to encourage him to put it down. When he brings his head in the other direction, I bring my hands back to encourage the head to come back up. And eventually he'll get the idea of where I want his head. Then I can slow down and do the technique the way it's supposed to be done. In this way, we're gradually showing him where to put his head rather than yanking on his head or making him stand absolutely still. Because when you're doing massage work or anything, you really want the horse calmer. It's not that you want them to stand absolutely still, you want them calmer. The other basic approach that I did was that I ignored him. If the horse isn't biting on you or doing anything that's going to harm you, and you ignore the behavior, and you consistently ignore the behavior every time that it happens, they'll get the same idea that this behavior doesn't work. Again, this takes time to do it. It's not a quick fix like slapping your horse or yanking on the lead rope. It takes a little time and effort to do it. Right here. And the reason why they're doing that is because this horse not only tolerates having his sheath clean, he'll actually move his feet out of the way, his leg out of the way. Another one, and it's a very misunderstood one, is to sometimes give your horse what it wants. In reality, in a group where there's a leader and a subordinate, it's not always a one-way flow of information, one person telling the other one what to do. It's a two-way interaction. And if you sometimes give your horse what it wants, then you're showing them that you can be a fair leader and that you're willing to cooperate and do a two-way street with them. And if you do this correctly, you won't end up with a horse that's pushy over treats. You're the person who's in charge of giving the treats. If you understand that and that you have the right to say yes or no, you shouldn't have any problems. If the horse comes to you and says, I'd like a treat, and you say, sure, here, you can have one, then that's good. If the horse comes to you and says, you want a treat, and you go, no, not now, and it cooperates with that, then that's fine too. And if, like my horse, you tell him they're all gone, he'll get a very sad look on his face because he understands all gone means they're all gone. It's empty. There's no more left. And I'll show you this in another video in more depth. I don't want to make this video so long that nobody wants to watch it. Hey, he's a good boy. Want a cookie? Want some cookie? Yeah? All right. We can have a cookie. What I'm about to show you in this next clip is not to be used with a horse that's an aggressive biter. This is not for horses that bite. This is more for young horses or older horses that were never taught not to do this. Young horses tend to want to pull on people's clothes when they walk by because they're being playful. And they do this with other horses, so they don't know that they're not supposed to do it with people. But rather than wait till the horse does it and say, no, no, don't do that, stop that, or even be even more aggressive than that with them, if you start off before you approach the horse and tell them, oh, good boy, you're being so good, and you continue that around them, they'll get the idea that that's the way you want them to behave. When you tell a horse no, you're not telling it what you want it to do. You're telling it what you don't want it to do, but you're not telling it what you want it to do. What I'm going to show you first is what I would do if I had a young horse that's pulling on my clothes because he doesn't know any better, or an older horse that hasn't been taught not to do that. This is a horse that's trying to play with you. This is not an aggressive horse. You would not use this for an aggressive biter. What I would do is get the horse's attention, so he's looking at me, and say, good boy. Notice how his ears are up. He's doing a very good job. Good boy. When I tell him good boy, I'm telling him that's what I want you to be like. Good boy. Nice job. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good job. Good job. Nice job. There's also an expectation that he's going to get something for being good. Good boy. Nice job. Good job. Good boy. Good boy. Nice job. Nice job. Nice job, Ruby. Very good boy. Good boy. And that time it went all the way around. That's a good boy. Want a cookie? Want some cookie? Yes, it's okay. This is okay. When you tell your horse, no, stop that, don't do that, or you push and pull on the horse, or you yank on the lead rope, what you're doing is you're responding to a negative that the horse has done. Teach a horse many things using clicker training and food reward training that you can't teach by spinning a horse around in the round pen. Say for example you have a horse that you stall at night, and you want that horse to be inside with less pee over the night. You can actually clicker train, a food reward train, that horse to pee before it goes in its stall at night. You can clicker train, a food train the horse to pee on command. Anything that a horse can do in nature on its own, you can put on cue with food reward or clicker training. Next, change the way you think. Become a problem solver. Instead of thinking, how can I get the horse to do this? How can I make the horse do this? Stop and think of why the horse doesn't want to do it. What negative aspects are there to the situation that make the horse not want to do it? And make a list of them. And then on the other side, make a list of how you can change those negatives to a positive. If you can change all those negatives to a positive, the horse will very willingly do it for you. Some of the more common things that I see are people rushing the horse, not in motion but in process. They're moving along too fast in the process and the horse can't catch up and figure out what it's expected to do next. In that case, they need to slow down. Another thing that I see a lot is people not being focused. They want the horse to be focused. They want the horse to pay attention. They want the horse to feel secure when they're not focused and secure themselves. Horses mirror people. So what you want the horse to behave like, you certainly need to behave like that. If you want the horse to be focused and paying attention, you need to also be focused and paying attention at the level that you want from that horse. That's a good boy. Want a cookie? Want some cookie? Yeah? Alright. We can have a cookie. I know. There you go. My friends have been egging me on to do a sheath cleaning video using this horse right here. And the reason why they're doing that is because this horse not only tolerates having his sheath cleaned, he'll actually move his feet out of the way, his leg out of the way, and lean so that you can do it. But the other reason why they're asking me to do it is because of the first step that I took in teaching my horse to be so relaxed to do it is a little unusual. And it shows that if you can teach a horse to do this on command, you can teach a horse literally to do anything that it can do in nature. I taught my horse this to teach him to relax before I started teaching him the actual sheath cleaning. It's too cold right now to actually show you the whole process of sheath cleaning, but he's ridiculously calm and he gets into it and very much enjoys it. Let's see it. Let's see, friend. Yep. Come on. There you go. Come on. That's a good boy. Good job. Good job. That's a good boy. Very nice. Very nice job, Ubi. That's a very good. This really shows that you can teach a horse many things using clicker training and food reward training that you can't teach by spinning a horse around in the round pen. Say, for example, you have a horse that you stall at night, and you want that horse to be inside with less pee over the night. You can actually clicker train, a food reward train, that horse to pee before it goes in its stall at night. You can clicker train, a food train the horse to pee on command. Anything that a horse can do in nature on its own, you can put on cue with food reward or clicker training. That's a very good. If you have a horse or horses that you find that you're saying, no, stop that, don't do that, or you're pushing and pulling on them a lot, and it seems like it's taking a lot of effort on your part, it's almost exhausting that you're trying to keep that horse in line all the time, really look at your relationship with that horse. There's probably a lot more negative connection between you and that horse than a positive connection. One way that you can increase the positive connection with your horse is to do massage work with your horse. There are many professional equine massage therapists all around the country that you can call upon and have them work with your horse. I had one work with my horse for $50 an hour once a week. I eventually learned how to do the massage work myself. I really like James Masterson's techniques. Some of my friends like Linda Tellington Jones, and I use a little of both. I don't really adhere to any one person's technique. I do the same as I do with training. I try to learn as much as I can from every different one that I can come in contact with, and I just pick and choose what seems to work for me, and I blend it all together. If you start to work on the positive connection with your horse through massage or some other method, when you start to see that your positive connection starts to come up and become more level with the negative connection you have with your horse, the more it gets closer and closer, and then it starts to pass it, you'll see that your horse's behavior will start to improve. Many people understand that massage is helpful if you have a horse that doesn't like to be handled, say, around its ears or its nose or its mouth, or nippy horses sometimes will benefit from having massage work done around the head. Head-shy horse will benefit from having work done around the head. But what people don't often understand is that the person giving the massage, if the massage is done correctly, the person giving the massage is also learning and processing also. The person giving the massage should be learning to connect better with the horse. They should be watching what the horse likes and doesn't like, listening for the sighs and releases of tension, watching for the tension in the body, feeling what they're doing to the horse, and feeling what their touch does to the horse, how the horse reacts to that. If the person giving the massage is doing it correctly, they should be learning how to focus more on the here and now. They should be learning how to block out everything else and concentrating just solely on what they're doing. They should start to feel a more closer connection with their horse. If you have an aggressive horse, I would suggest that you seek professional help and not try to do it on your own. You should always consider your own safety and your horse's well-being first and foremost.